I'm here with the uber talented Vinnie Colaiuta on June 1st, 2021. And we just recorded some tracks for my new album. And I'm so honored to ask you some questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd.
And so my first question is, what are your thoughts on like the mystical energy aspect of music making? Like
it's real and it exists, and I talk about it all the time. Where it's like there's just conversation that happens beyond the speed of thought. Synergy. We're like a sum greater than the sum of our parts. We become this thing, and there's nothing like it. I mean, for many reasons, we're built to communicate this way. I think, and really, the kinds of things that could happen are just so far greater than just doing it piecemeal. I mean, you could sort of all the possibilities and the ability to sort of change things on the spot. But it just becomes this thing that has the whole mystical aspect of it is very, very real. Definitely, I could go on and on and on about it, but yeah, I'm with you.
Love it. So cool. Okay, I want to ask you about one of my favorite albums of all time that you're on, 10 Summoner's Tales.
Oh, you're right.
Oh my gosh. So, what was the process for you guys getting those songs pulled together to record them? You went out.
Well, as I remember it, we went in and I was actually done in about 10 days, and so when I went in, it was like very skeletal kinds of chord structures, and we kind of all played as a band and sort of came up with grooves, and it's sort of evolved kind of organically that way.
Did Sting have like pretty fleshed out, stuff, or
it was pretty skeletal, meaning that it wasn't like that, where there was some hard and fast things that were going to dictate what we were going to do. It was, like I say, it was pretty bare. It was like we sort of sat down and he had these ideas and we played and the lyrics came last.
Interesting.
Yeah, the lyrics came last.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So the two odd time signature pieces on that album, 7 Days.
Yeah.
7 Days is all she wrote. Mm-hmm. And then St. Augustine in Hell.
Right.
You do such a beautiful job with those odd time signatures. When you're doing that, are you consciously thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1?
I kind of, when you learn that stuff, I think you have to count, but I feel it as a pulse. I feel it as a pulse, and just like when we hear 4/4, we hear it as a pulse. We hear pulses. It's like 5 has a pulse, and I just look for, like, really, where's the backbeat going to be? And, that's an oversimplification. It's not the only thing I look for, but it's comfortable subdivisions that you feel.
Comfortable subdivisions,
yeah,
cool.
I like it to be comfortable, the subdivision to be comfortable. So, and he had an idea of going over the bar line because he wanted to have a steady pulse. So the whole thing is the audience could just feel that. They wouldn't have to, you understand what I mean?
Yes.
And but that was like right up my alley anyway.
Right.
There was like that was like a vehicle that I used, and it was. But he said on that one tune to that he wanted to do that. And I was like, great, brilliant. But I think on 7 Days that was pretty much my whole. I just played it the way I thought of it.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah.
Oof. You have this chameleon ability to adapt to whatever artist you're working with, and the body of work you've done is just so vast. So I have 2 questions. Is there any tracks that you've done that are kind of incognito that we don't know about? Is there any?
No. I mean, there was I ghosted on a record once. Can't remember the name of the band now. Something Youth. Anyway, I ghosted on this record, and I was supposed to not say that I played on
Interesting. I wondered. Yeah.
Okay. And so, yeah. But I think that's the only thing that I ghosted on that I can remember. Yeah.
Now, when you're with these different artists, do you consciously think, okay, I'm going to adapt to this, or do you just, in your beautiful musical self.
I don't consciously think of that. I go in like an open book. I just want to know what the music says to me and how I can sort of make it live, make the music live, and how I can, just fit in. And I grew up listening to all kinds of different stuff. So to me, it was all music. Then you become a musician, and then it's like, oh no, this is what musicians listen to, But now that's all kind of changing.
Frank Zappa. Right.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, it's all changing now,
Right. Gotcha. Okay. What are you listening to currently? Just as a fun question, like what are there's so much content now that
Podcasts.
Cool.
No, just talk radio. Seriously, if I listen to music, it doesn't follow a pattern. I'll go through periods where I'll listen to like Miles and Coltrane. Then I'll listen to a lot of classical music. Then I'll go into this thing where I'll just listen to Muscle Shoals. Sometimes I get into those things where I just listen to one thing and it's random, and you know what I mean? And lately I've gone back and listened to a bunch of old pop records from the 60s and 70s.
Okay.
Especially the 60s, because there was something about the way music was written and the way the artists delivered it that had to do with the zeitgeist, which is a complex thing to deal with. It can be, because there were wars then and there were protests and there were all sorts of things, but there was also a sort of collective sense of hope, and I think that there's something very forlorn that I'm missing about that. I miss what I was hearing then, and it's not just a boomer becoming nostalgic. It's someone who can reflect upon an entire time and what that time meant in a large sense, in a large sense that's very different from now, and what it represents, and it kind of makes me sad a little bit, Just there's a lot of elements behind it, so I do that sometimes too. I go back and listen to that.
So cool.
No rhyme or reason, but
gotcha.
But yeah, man.
Yeah. Vinnie.
Hey, thank you for having me on this project. And for us, it's been like a long time coming. This is like version 2.0, 35 years later.
Yes, we recorded in 1984, and here we are again in 2021.
Yes. This is a great reunion, Todd.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
For the music and for bringing me in on this. Right on. Okay.
Awesome.
You guys rule, man.